The cavalry's here!
It's been 2 weeks since the last Wednesday, so that means it's time for another Overwatchers. I'm Garrett Weinzerl. I'm sitting here with Patrick Beja, Chris, a.k.a. ChanmanV, and we are here to talk all about Overwatch. Guys, welcome back. How you doing?
Excellent, fantastic, and it's a very special day for me. If you've been following my Twitter, you might know it if you speak French. Basically, the first podcast I ever recorded, produced, and published was on this day 10 years ago. It's my 10-year podcastiversary.
So you were
podcastiversary.
You were a
yes
decade younger than you are now when you started doing this stuff.
I know. So many things were different. I didn't have a wife. I wasn't married. I hadn't even met the woman who would be my wife.
Wow. You know what else you didn't have? Listeners.
You were doing podcasts.
Well, I guess,
podcast wasn't even cool.
by this time, 10 years ago, I had at least a couple, I think. Maybe 3 or 4, because it was published. It was live. So there you go. Also, what we didn't have was this amazing game in our life, Overwatch.
No, we didn't. It was, a decade ago. They still thought this thing was going to be an MMO.
It was sketches on a piece of paper.
Yep.
Pretty much Titan.
How's it going, Chris?
Going well, man. I'm enjoying getting a chance to watch and listen to you guys talk about World of Warcraft, but not get a chance to play it. So I've been living the life vicariously through you guys.
Well, that's good, man. It's good. It's fun. It has caused major timing issues, I believe, with the release of anything else from any other Blizzard title.
Yeah.
But the timing, man. Timing's interesting. I mean, normally, any other time, if we got something early in Overwatch, if something we were looking forward to came early, we would just be ecstatic, and there would just be pretty much nothing bad we could say about it unless it was horribly riddled with bugs. But instead, Season 2 comes early on the same day Legion launches, and we're all sitting here going, really? What? Come, I know that, people that work at Blizzard play other Blizzard games than just the title that they are working on. So, if nothing else, do it for your own self-preservation, man. Wait a week or do it even earlier.
I'm half convinced that it's a bug. Half convinced that it was an oversight.
It's an accidental release, really?
They got the because they had said that it would start September 6th. And they published the patch on what day was it? The 30th, the 31st, and the season 2 was live immediately. And I figured, I was surprised at first, but maybe someone forgot to flip the switch off. And once people have started placing, and it's not such a huge deal, but once people have started placing, you can't say, oh no, sorry, we're gonna take everything away. You have to redo it. Right, so maybe they were like, "All right, fine, whatever." Season 2 started. Maybe it's not, but I think given that and the Legion launch, I think it might have been. But
I think you might have be onto something there because when you let everybody else know it's September 6th, and then it just comes out 2 days later, it's like, whoa, okay, wow. I mean, I guess you couldn't wait. I guess you just couldn't wait to get it out there.
Very un-Blizzard like, a little Team 5 like, because they've kind of gotten.
A little Team 5 now.
It's not a bad thing at all. They've kind of gotten in this habit of being like, and it's coming out tomorrow. Yeah. They've gotten in that habit. I'm not saying it's the best way to hype things, but it's in the grand scheme, in the long storied history of Blizzard, surprise early releases are not a common thing.
Yeah, for sure. Usually it's the other way around.
I have to break the wall. Audio listeners, you're missing out because Chris's camera is freezing again, and it is freezing at the most perfect point.
Wait, did he drop out?
Oh, we lost him. Never mind.
We lost him.
No. Most unfortunate.
Well, hey, you know what? We can. He's gonna come back, I'm sure.
Yep.
But in the meantime, we can talk about the other surprise we had.
Oh, the biggest
ago.
news, the most important news in all of Overwatch right now.
For sure.
Yeah, we are on the Battle.net launcher, Patrick.
Are we still on it?
We're still on it.
It's not in France.
We're still there. We are totally still there. It still feels good. Oh, I'm sorry that it's not in France, but I can sit here in America, Patrick, and tell you without without any lies that we are still very much on the launcher. And
that is amazing.
It's great.
We didn't. I think you, as you're trying to fix the overlay to make it look. Oh, he's back! Yay!
Welcome back, Chris.
Chris is back.
Skype. Yes.
So you mentioned. Well, you didn't mention anything. I think Blizzard asked you for something at some point, so you suspected, but you didn't say anything, Garrett.
There was just a little bit of a hey, just so you know, you should keep your eye on the launcher. That was all I got. I'm not gonna say who sent it. You know who you are.
Tell us
Thank
anything.
you. No, I didn't, because I didn't. It's not like they told me like it'll be tomorrow, which is what it ended up being. When I got the tip, it ended up being the next damn day that the show ended up on the launcher. But I don't know. I didn't think much of it. I'm like, oh, it'll probably be like in a month or so when it's slow and they didn't just release a patch. But no, they've been promoting our little podcast in our little corner of the internet right here on the Overwatch page on the Battle.net launcher, and that is just awesome. So, without spending way too much time tooting our own horn, thank you so much, Overwatch team. That's fantastic. Means a lot to us.
And
yeah,
I mean. Don't want to spend too much time on it, but it is a little bit significant to the way Blizzard handles the community in general, because I can tell you that 10 years ago, when I first started...
Back in my day...
Yeah, back in my day, they didn't know what podcasts were. They were working with the community for sure, but podcasters were sort of jumping up and down and going like, hey, we're here, guys. And some of them, I mean, I had great relationships with some of the community managers, but it took a little bit of time. Actually, the French community manager got to us for the French podcast like on the second episode. So that was awesome. But it was still, I mean, it wasn't as active as it is today, and it feels really good as a content creator to be recognized by the people who do the thing you love. So yeah, it feels a little bit good, and it's a great way for them, I guess, to expand on the community and to sort of give us a little gold star so that we never stop doing the show.
That's right.
I mean,
right.
It's all in good fun, but
yeah, absolutely. It is great, and you're absolutely right. It's the effort overall for community outreach and to help promote community content they've done a lot more with it in recent time. Especially, it's not even just Overwatch either. This has been happening with the Heroes team as well. And I don't bring it up only because Into the Nexus also ended up on the launcher. But it's not just that. I mean, they're promoting Twitch streams. They've been promoting esports for a while. That was also a big I feel like learning experience for Blizzard, because I mean, Chris, you remember how long was it that where the StarCraft community was screaming, promote this in the game, promote it in the launcher. Like, I mean, we've been asking to be able to watch it in game a la Dota 2 for a long time now, and it's looking like that will probably never happen. But it took a while even to start getting even Blizzard's own esports events either promoted in game or on the launcher. So the fact now that we have esports events, we have Twitch streamers, and we even now have podcasts, it's awesome. It's a good place to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's better than any other publisher at this point. I mean, everybody's been asking for it in terms of League of Legends and Dota 2 and other games like, other very large games like that. And we still don't see that. We still don't see a lot of content makers being promoted by the riots and the valves. So
if I can throw a little
Blizzard's-
shade, I mean, Steam just believes nobody knows what they actually
Yeah.
want. Steam
Well,
Steam knows what you want, even though
That's true.
although apparently what you want is not Half-Life 3, sadly. So
Oh, Half-Life 3. Oh, one day that'll happen. No, but just I guess continuing the point with community. I've always been a huge advocate of just generally game communities and how that's really the core and just the biggest thing that I feel like a publisher should focus on, because it really it's the main thing that keeps the longevity of the game going, because not everybody's going to continue playing the game unless like you're literally coming out with new content constantly, like World of Warcraft or mainly just World of Warcraft for all this time now. But for the most part, you'll stop playing it. Maybe there's esports for you to watch and stuff, but really, keeping people passionate, discussing things all has a lot to do with the communities. And so, just the publishers continuing to promote all aspects of it, including podcasts, including audio podcasts too. Not just like talk shows generally. I think that's really, really huge. So, props to them for doing that. Props to them for seeing our just the different podcasts being promoted, and including this one, yes, on the client.
yeah,
And just to finish up on that, it's very true that what podcast does for Blizzard, just like almost every other content creation, but podcasts in particular, it immerses you, like it allows you to talk about, quote unquote, talk about it with your group of friends, and it sort of keeps the game with you when you're not in the game, right? So it sort of allows to extend, as for Blizzard, community is a great tool to extend the reach of their product into places of their customers' lives where they wouldn't be present otherwise, right? You're going to be listening to a podcast when you're, God knows what, vacuuming or doing the dishes or at work pretending to work. So that's one of the great, the mutually beneficial relationship for everyone. So I think it works. It's cool. Anyway, all right, other stuff.
Exactly. so let's go. Let's come back to season 2 and talk about it, because it is here. Eichenwald is here. I haven't gotten it in my placement games yet. I've done half of my placement games, and I'm just sitting here going, "Hey, man, where's Eichenwald? I've done Volskaya Industries enough times now. Can we maybe get the new patch?"
Poor soul.
Yeah, but so how's it going for you guys? Chris, I believe you're the only one of us that's actually finished your placement matches. I don't know, maybe timing. World of Warcraft, things get in the way. How do you like the new system? Where did you play? So you are you Grandmaster now, Chris?
Yeah, no. So I ended up placing platinum, and you can't place any higher than platinum right now in the placement matches.
Nice.
Well,
So
damn,
I went
son.
I went 7-2-1. So I actually had a draw too. So I got a chance to experience that. And I ended up being at, I think, 2,774. So that's somewhere like right in the middle of platinum. Kind of shooting for diamond right now. But overall, my placement matches, I played like half of them with my son too, and they were stomps. I think I had 1 or 2 games that were really close, but the rest of them were very one-sided. Like we held the first, the objective, and and then we got it right. I mean, that's sort of a stomp. I don't know how they're doing the placement matches there, but I know generally they want us to get going fast, and even I think right off the bat, I've heard that they've been, still maybe lowballing us so that we can rank up some immediately. And it's kind of nice because the right now, I think like when you win or lose like your first match out after you've been placed, you get somewhere in the realm of like 20 or 30 points, something like that. But if you get on a winning streak, you get the bonus for streaking. So there's definitely incentive, and I mean, not just winning. I mean, winning is always a great incentive, but there's definitely a huge incentive of winning consecutive games so that you can just get more points per match. I did lose one, and I lost like 50 when I lost, which felt bad, given that it probably takes 2 to make up for that. But overall, I think I'm liking the system. I definitely like the fact that we have the tiers now, and right now I'm platinum, shooting for diamond. But I do wish the icons were different though. Every time I see the icons right now, I'm just like, what is that guy? You know, like when I was placing, I was like, is that silver or is that platinum?
That's
And,
the
I had to
issue
go
we've
look at
had since StarCraft 2.
I know, right?
We have it in Heroes now, and now we have it in Overwatch.
Yeah.
Is that diamond? Is that platinum? Or is that silver? I can't. It's like varying ever so slight degrees of shininess.
Exactly.
But that's great, man.
I mean, but diamond, you know, at least in diamond and StarCraft, it was blue. You know what I mean? It had at least some color association with it. But a lot of these symbols are exactly the same color. They just look a little bit different. So it's a little bit hard to tell.
Yeah, that's something they could tweak over time, and definitely, I think, a
Yeah.
a nit to pick. But
yeah, no sudden death though. The fact that we ended up like one of my games ended in a draw, it didn't feel that bad actually, being in a draw. Given that it was a really close game, and we both just didn't finish it, and given the time allocated in the time bank. So
we needed sudden death, Chris. We needed sudden death to appreciate the draw. We needed to know how bad it could be. How bad?
I guess that's the takeaway. It didn't feel bad to have to get into a draw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. We don't have to have winners.
I'm glad that
all win.
We're all winners.
That's
You
right.
all got 3 points.
we
Everyone's
all get
happy.
gold stars. You get a gold star. You
Exactly.
get a gold star. You get an S on your report card for satisfactory. I'm glad you brought up playing games with your son, because I was about to ask you, real talk time, Chris.
Yeah.
How many games did you play with your pro buddies? But that doesn't
0.
matter, because you mentioned your son, and your son is a boss at Overwatch.
No, well, he is good. He definitely is good, and I can still say I'm better than Overwatch, right? So he's definitely better at Genji than I am, but I think generally, understanding team play and stuff, I'm still kind of teaching him that, and he's getting better. I mean, one of the games with Reaper, I think he had 65 kills or 70 kills or something.
Jeez, wow.
So yeah, he was doing a lot of work, that's for sure. But he's not pro level yet. Definitely not pro level.
How is he? Is he still playing a lot of Genji even after all the nerfs?
Yeah, he loves Genji. It doesn't matter if they nerf him. He's gonna still play them no matter what.
Yeah, I honestly.
And he was so bummed he didn't get the summer games, the Nyan.
That was
skin.
the only
oh my gosh,
summer game skin I
bummed.
wanted. That was the only summer game skin I wanted. Didn't get it.
Yeah,
Either.
you should have seen how many epic boxes he got too. I would literally watch him get epic boxes. He'd be like, oh, I got an epic. I got like some emote for some regular emote. It's just like, oh man. So yeah, that's the only thing he's really bummed about. He's got all the other Genji skins.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It's quite the collector.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I was expecting to see less Genji in my games as a result of the changes, and I haven't. I'm seeing Genji every game I've played so far. I will say I'm seeing more Junkrat though, and I'm personally going to anecdotally attribute that to the fact that their traps catch Genjis now.
Well, no, I think it does play into it because definitely when it makes Junkrat way more of a counter to Genji, who didn't have many. And Junkrat is kind of a relatively easy character to play and have fun with. So it wouldn't surprise me at all that that is the reason you're seeing more Junkrats.
Yeah, and there's still a lot of Reinhardts, and Junkrat's just ability is good with Zarya's ult, which is super popular right now too. So yeah, I've been seeing a lot of him too. He's really good on Eichenwald too. Just his bomb is great on the bridge. It's like amazing on the bridge actually. So knocking people off it, definitely been seeing a lot more too.
Yeah. So what have you been? Have you had a game plan for your placement? Because I was seeing a lot on Twitter. Well, yeah. Besides that, like, are you? Have you called your roster? Are you only playing a handful of heroes? What is?
So I think right. So this season, and just generally even at the end of last season, I pretty much just been playing my best characters, which have been tanker support. So a lot of my games were Reinhardt. I just pick him right off the bat because Reinhardt's my best character, and he's just an essential character right now too. So there's no reason not to pick him. So yeah, I've been playing a lot of Reinhardt. I played a couple of the King of the Hills as Lucio though. Actually, I had to switch at one point from Reinhardt because our Lucio wasn't cutting it. So I was like, anybody else want to play tank? Because I can play Lucio. and that helped. But yeah, pretty much just playing my best characters. And I think that's the right approach in competitive play. If you want to learn a new character, you should do that in quick play. Otherwise, your skill ranking just won't represent what your new character you're playing.
Yeah.
And you're just gonna get stomped, or the teams aren't gonna be balanced if you do that.
Yeah, that's why I was seeing a lot of people on Twitter like tweeting at me. It's like, oh, I did all my placements only as support, and so I was just curious where you were going. I went in, and I've already broken this, and I'm only halfway through. Being like, I'm just gonna tank. I'm only gonna tank because I don't know. I kind of feel like specializing. That's where I feel the most comfortable is tanking. And then much like you, I'm just kind of like I'm watching the other supports, just like, come on, man. Fine, out of my way. Let me show you how it's done. And now I'm tanking and supporting, and occasionally I'll bust out a Torbjorn for certain defense maps.
Torbjorn, man, Torbjorn can still be good. Torbjorn is still good on a good number of maps. At least I think to a certain point, but
it's mostly
it depends on the skill level, right?
Yeah.
If you're at a slightly lower skill level, I'm wondering if at your skill level it still works, but
I think it still does.
It does, okay. Because for me in season 1, Bastion was always the trump card in attack. Actually, I think I mentioned it on the show, but I often started with Bastion, and people in my team were sort of
mad. Come on,
a little bit like doing? No. Usually they were politely wondering. They were like, "Really, man, Bastion in attack? Are you sure?" And I was like, "Don't worry, I'll switch if it doesn't work." And the thing is, if you have a Reinhardt, he will not stand 10 seconds with a Torbjorn. So since Reinhardt is so popular, it often worked. But
you mean with the Bastion?
Yeah, the Bastion.
I'm sorry?
You said Torbjorn,
yeah.
Bastion?
With the Bastion, if you mow down the shield in 5 seconds. So that's why it worked really well. And then, you make a breach and everyone else can get in. But yeah, it's Torbjorn. I guess I've seen a couple of times a guy playing Torbjorn super aggressively.
Yeah.
Like he would... Yep. You put the turret down. I guess that's how you need to play him. But you put the turret down, and then you move on, and you put it down somewhere else. Ready to put it down as soon as it's destroyed. It's not like this carefully crafted turret placement. Of course, you have to know where you want to put it, but you don't worry so much that you need to protect it until the end of time. You just put another one up anytime it gets shut down, and I guess that works too. But.
His gun.
It reminds me of that fantasy you have. You ever started like when you first get into StarCraft, and you're like, I'm gonna play Terran. I'm gonna have the most perfect line, and I'm gonna turtle like crazy. And then you go watch a pro game of StarCraft, and you're like, that's not how anyone has ever played this game at a high level. You just have to be fast and get it out there and done. It can't be perfect placement. This is not SimCity, and that's kind of the mindset I feel you have to adopt a bit with Torbjorn. But
his gun's good. His gun's actually really good.
Yeah,
if you get used to using it, his right click is almost as good as a Roadhog shotgun.
Yeah.
If you're just used to the timing of it, it might be just a tiny bit slower.
That's
and then
the
his
thing.
left click is just great at headshotting people from like spamming on Anubis. That's what I always do. That left side when you're defending and they're coming up the left side. I just spam that little crack over and over. It's just like. Eliminated. Yep. It's like, yes.
Yep, exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's true. It's very frustrating when you're, especially, the right click is basically, you're right, the shotgun. So when you have someone really close up, you can just spam it and it hits stuff. So yeah. I mean, that speaks to my level of play, I suppose. It's not
no, seriously, the fact that you're even using the right click is that's good. That means you're a higher level Torbjorn, right. Because right now the thing that makes my eye twitch more than anything else is when I see a Torbjorn play the game and they go Molten Core and they're shooting at point blank range and they're using the left click. I'm like, use the right click. Why aren't you using the right click? Your play of the game could actually be impressive right now. So that's the thing that we've talked about supports kind of letting us down, and now we have to support, and it's the same thing. It's like, Torbjorn, yeah, okay, let me do it. I got this. I
do have to say, I have seen, which is really nice. I have seen some really good Anas. I mean, I've actually enjoyed playing with Anas, and it's actually some Anas have been extremely good with their grenades and their timing on on maps like any of the King of the Hill maps, like Nepal, where you just everybody's just hanging out in the objective, and the transcendence and Lucio healing is like so essential on those maps, especially while you're just trying to sustain like on the objective. When they throw that grenade in there and there's just like no healing, your tanks just melt so quickly when they just rush like that. So the Ana I think has been great like that. Some Anas are just extremely good at being evasive too.
That's
So,
funny. What you just said about the King of the Hill maps, I think it was almost word for word what I thought would happen when we started discussing Ana and her grenade. So I'm really glad that I saw that one coming. I'm not complete crap at understanding the game. Yay!
It's just a matter of time. I still think it's a matter of time before we see it in the pro level, because Transcendence is huge, right? It's like one of the best ultimates right now, at least defensive ultimates right now, or actually just versatile ultimates. So that's the only thing that counters it. Like literally the only thing that counters it. Maybe outside of Junk's ult that just kills people instantly. but outside of that, I mean, nothing else is going to prevent that healing from happening.
Yeah, it's really good, and I'm glad that you brought up a hero that we're pretty bad with. I think across the board on this show.
Never play Ana.
Yeah, we were just.
You were saying they're getting good at evasion as well. How do they get out of dodge?
It's just moving well. I mean, obviously they can use the grenades on themselves, but I've been slept like as Reinhardt many times trying to kill an Ana, or slept as a Winston trying to take out Ana, and Winston's probably the counter to her too. And they've just been a lot better about it. At least the guys I've been playing, and then even my Anas, I just been appreciating my Anas too a lot, which is really nice.
Yeah,
I guess anticipation and realizing placement and understanding when the battle like in front of you is starting to get out of hand and the enemies are going to start coming your way, so you anticipate and start moving already, that kind of thing, I suppose.
Yeah. It's we've moved past the point where I'm concerned first and cautiously optimistic later when I see an Ana picked. Now I'm just like, okay, cool, bring it. If you're picking Ana, let's do this. I trust in you because I'm seeing really great Ana picks, and that is absolutely one of those things that I cannot do. We spent the last 10 to 15 minutes talking about things we see people doing that we feel we can do better, so we pick up that mantle. That is not Ana for me at all. So I really appreciate a good Ana play.
I will never be good at Ana. I can tell you that right now. But being a Reinhardt, it's nice getting ultimates. It's nice getting a little attention from your support, at least ultimate wise, and you getting to wreck people. Whenever I light up, I'm like, I didn't even expect this, but let's go. Let's just charge in there and just like do whatever I want. So it's kind of awesome.
Yeah, you go from Captain America to the Juggernaut real fast.
That's right. That's right.
As Reinhardt with an Ana behind you. It's great. Yeah, I've been getting on the Reinhardt too. So we need to play together. I want to support you, and I want to support you. If you play
Reinhardt, I'll play Zarya. I've been trying to work on my Zarya, given that I think she's the most important character in the game right now. Like when I play against or play with a really good Zarya right now, it's like another level. It's like another level or another. It takes like another 5 seconds to kill somebody or 10 seconds when it would just be super easy to kill them once you get to the back line.
Yeah, Zaryas.
Oh my God, they're so good.
And basically every high-level team fight is decided on a Zarya ult. Well, not everyone, but that's basically what sets the moment. You decide the moment you're going to jump in and attack or really defend, or it's when you have the Zarya ult. Everyone's waiting for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, isn't she the hardest character to kill? Like for you guys, swinging like over and over and over, bashing on Zarya. She never goes down. It's like crazy.
It absolutely drives me nuts.
Yeah, she's definitely. I think she might be my favorite tank. And maybe it is because people at my level don't really know how to deal with her. But she's definitely like. I love the fact that you can sort of tank from a distance a little bit by spamming, putting your bubble on other people and then getting in and being like, if you get in with a charged weapon, everyone gets out of there.
Yeah, it's everyone out of the pool. The chlorine level has reached dangerous amounts. Get out now.
And I have definitely had games where I would just not die as Zarya. If you have a good healer, for sure, she will have more durability, I think, than almost any other tank. I guess in a sense, D.Va is gonna get out of the mech and then come back in.
Yeah,
but
lives.
I think Zarya has more chances because you have to get away, I guess.
You never stop being a tank with Zarya. With D.Va, when you fall out of that suit, it's like, well, I'm gonna play this weird little poke DPS for the next minute or so while I charge back up my suit, so I can then go tank again. But Zarya, she's very self-sufficient, like D.Va, but she's always, if she's alive, she's a tank.
She's super versatile too, and we had this funny game during the placement where all of our, we were all in voice, right? And we had this Zarya that was just like a kangaroo that's just literally jumping, and she's just way up there. She's in front of everybody, which is like exactly what you don't do with Zarya, because you can't shield anybody when you're doing that. But man, she was spamming and not dying and just like causing so much havoc. We just stopped saying anything at that. We're like, yeah, go hopping around, just do your thing.
Do that thing, funny Zarya.
The thing is, with the enormous, basically half of her life being shield, you just get out of there for 3 seconds, and you're back to a level with your bubble, where you are just like a full tank again. Yes, you're gonna miss half your life, but you have the bubble. You have 8 seconds between the bubbles, and you shield someone else who's in front of you, so they can tank for you. She has amazing sustainability.
I really like it. I've been playing a lot of Mercy, and I just the shield is great because it gives me time to go heal other people.
That's right. That's true.
It gives me a breather to damage boost a Pharah, and then we can just rock things. And it's I don't know.
Speaking of Mercy, she's really good right now too.
She's fantastic right now. Oh my God! So she had we haven't talked specifically about the buffs. I mean, we talked about them during the PTR, and they didn't change a ton, but so healing per second was increased by 20% on Mercy, and it feels very noticeable.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah, and then Resurrect's great too. Now people who are resurrected can maneuver 2.25 seconds. After 2.25 seconds, it used to be 3 seconds on the dot. So it seems like a supremely minute change, but after being res multiple times this week, you notice that. I really noticed that trim on the time.
Yeah, we're starting to see the Mercy resurrection being essential on maps again, where when this whole Zen Lucio combo for support became hugely popular, just the sustainability and the pushes and the countering of ults, just with the transcendence is what we were seeing. Now I think we're going back to the point where getting a second life for your entire team is starting to become very, very important on the Hanamoras and maps like that we saw in the past. And that's good. That's actually really, really great, because Mercy was dropping off for definitely a lot, just given that there's just so many ults that do damage to your entire team, that just having a single, like a support that only heals like a single target was starting to become a bit worse.
Yeah, and that's why her heal becoming more effective is just, it's better, because you spend less time healing a single person, so you can move your heal around more freely. And then, good God, if you combine that with someone like Zarya or another support, Mercy's in a really good place right now. Yeah.
What do you think of the Mei projectiles not being blocked now by the shield, like her blizzard projectile?
I think it's great for Mei. I don't think it's good for my blood pressure.
Exactly right. Oh man,
the thing is, as annoying as Mei is, she's really annoying if you're a certain character and you're alone against her. And her ultimate was, did she really change? She would kill one person here and there, but she was really, I don't think she was as effective at winning games as she was incredibly annoying when you were facing her. And ultimately, annoying is a problem, but not very good. I guess what I'm trying to say is we didn't realize she wasn't great because she was infuriating. So
now
that
she's
helps her?
infuriating and
And
deadly. So
I guess.
Maze Bay, she's good right now.
Yeah.
Like, I think we're on. I mean, I think we're already seeing her a ton in the lower levels, but we may be close to seeing her at even the highest levels. Just seeing her on a lot of these maps, particularly because of the time bank system now.
Mm-hmm.
So every single second, counts now. A lot of these, second points, capture points that are like Hanamura, ones that are really close to the defensive spawns. I think we're going to see a lot more of those Mays, and I saw them already. Like probably like 3 or 4 games where people were just constantly going to May and just jumping on the point and going ice block basically, and it makes a big difference. It buys another 15 seconds, and 15 seconds is a big deal on these time bank maps.
yeah,
Is it 15 seconds? No.
No,
It's like
but
8,
just
isn't it?
generally, like her being able to
okay.
being to be in there and then ice wall after that, and to just
Right.
she can live like an extra 15 seconds, which is a big deal for people to spawn and get back and just possibly swing the match at that point. So yeah, she's becoming really good on those capture point maps.
what do you think? I know you're a big Zenyatta fan, Chris. How does the nerfs feel for Zenyatta?
I haven't played him that much since the nerf, but the times I played him, he seems fine. He actually seems exactly where he should be now. Like the Discord, feels not too overpowered, and what else was it? I don't use his right click ever, so I can't really comment on just the buff to that. But overall, I think with the Discord, I think this is a really good change, and he's pretty close to being balanced, versus what he was before. The biggest issue I had with Zenyatta is that there are characters that are designed to be his counter, and Discord was just letting him kill those people one-on-one, which was the that was the thing that was the biggest issue, right? We talked about Junkrat, having a change there that helps against Genji. Well, there was a lot of things that needed to be held with Zenyatta, and I think Discord was the main thing. So it wasn't so much how Discord helped the team so much, even though it is super powerful, especially against guys like Roadhog. But it was more about the one-on-one capabilities of Zenyatta, especially when you're talking about somebody who's really, really good at aiming and whatnot. He was killing Genjis and Tracers, and that's not, that doesn't feel like that should be happening, given that I feel like those backline characters should be countering Zenyatta.
Yeah, that's a good point. He's been clearly a difficult obstacle in terms of balancing this game since testing phase.
Yeah.
And so you're happy with?
Yeah, I'm very
doing
happy.
now?
Yeah, I'm happy right now with the Discord, and I mean, obviously, it's at my level. Who knows at the highest levels if it's good enough where every single shot counts. But right now, he feels really good right now.
Yeah.
It could be also like a lot of people are just so used to playing against him. Like we're all just used to, okay, Discord, immediately just get the hell out of here, and don't just sit there in the battle. But overall, I think that even my son said that it's a lot better fighting against Zenyatta now, as Genji than it was before. And Genji got nerfs too, right? So
yeah.
It's a big deal if he says it too.
Yeah. They've been reining in 1v1 potential quite a bit. I mean, going back to McCree's changes to flashbang and the speed of his fire and all that stuff as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it seems to be a big concern. That being said, now we have May.
Now we have May.
Now we have May.
Yeah.
I think May did need some love, but damn it, she's just such a rage-inspiring hero for me.
Talk about rage-inspiring hero. How about the Hanzo changes? I mean, I feel like Hanzo got a buff in all of this, even though they kind of toned down the size of the arrows, which was pretty ridiculous with the hit radius on that.
Undo that change, actually?
Did they in the end? I didn't realize if they did.
Maybe
Just
they undid part of it, like the part that I don't know. I think in the initial patch they increased the size and then they reduced the increased size, which was still bigger ultimately than what it was. Right. Okay. So maybe that's. I thought ultimately it didn't go in, but can't remember exactly.
No, it's definitely bigger. It's just not as big as it was originally when they came at they made that buff just the first time around, like you said. but it's still a lot.
So
It's still
many
bigger
jokes.
for sure.
Yeah.
So many jokes.
You.
Yeah.
You want to you want to whip the dragons out and compare size? I mean, if that's where we're going.
Oh man.
Let's not.
All right,
I've
I mean,
reconsidered.
Can we talk about projectile speed then too?
Yes, yeah. The big thing for I was talking about dragon tattoos. What are you guys talking about? Come on. How does the tattoo have projectile speed? Yeah. So the projectile speed made it into the live game. He also moves now. He moves faster now while aiming. He used to have a 40% slow while aiming. Now he only has a 30% slow while aiming. So yeah, I'm seeing Hanzos everywhere now. And yes, you're absolutely. Thank you, Chris. As I was coming down off of my May is driving me nuts and reminding me that Hanzo is back and better than ever.
Yeah, and thankfully I haven't quite seen a bunch of games where Hanzos are just spamming at me, and I do play Reinhardt a lot, so I get protected or protect my team against Hanzos. Definitely rage enemy number 1 in Overwatch most of the time. Like every time we do skirmish, I just play Hanzo, and it's just like, this is ridiculous.
This is stupid.
I'm like literally killing people, and I suck at Hanzo. I really suck at Hanzo, and I'm like killing people with one shots, and it's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, well,
but you need characters that are. I mean, yes, the problem is you can one-shot people if you're lucky, but usually it takes a couple. I'm going to try and defend Hanzo for a second. Usually it takes a couple of shots. The travel time is faster, but it's not instant. And if you play, for example, Junkrat, maybe it's the other character that's relatively easy to play, you can absolutely get into those situations where you throw a couple of grenades, kind of random, and it kills someone. Maybe it's because it's less frequent that it's not as frustrating, but
yeah.
I feel Hanzo is in a place where he's getting an unfair hate. Maybe it's not unfair,
if you
but
if you want to have this discussion, I will argue with you that grenades you can see coming. They're slow-moving projectiles. You can actually do something about it and have an informed decision, whereas an arrow is basically invisible and you die instantly out of nowhere.
I guess that's true.
It's fired at a higher frequency too. That's why it happens more. Is just the rate of fire is faster.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
how many play of the games have you seen that are basically people getting shot that weren't aimed at, more than Hanzo? I don't think I've seen any character even close to the number of times I've seen just random. I wouldn't say random, but general shots that were meant for another teammate end up headshotting somebody else.
Yeah. I'm completely fine with him in team environments. I like that fantasy of you're moving as a group around a corner and the guy in front of you just drops dead and you're like, oh snap, sniper, everyone stop moving. In this game instead, it's oh snap, Hanzo, everyone stop moving. But it's in the pickup games where Hanzo just kind of drives me nuts because there's almost no one talks to each other in this game. I wish you would. Even if you're gonna cuss at me, I don't care. I just want to talk to you. But in the pickup games, Hanzo just hits me in a very special rage-induced place. No.
You and many people.
Yeah. No, I understand. I guess Widowmaker takes more skill. It's really hard to get. That's weird, actually. Why is it so hard to get random shots with Widowmaker and not with Hanzo? Maybe it's the frequency, but even that, I don't know.
It was kind of the hitbox
like
for a while, right? It was the hit radius from that arrow for a while.
Yeah.
And it's still bigger than Widowmaker's. Widowmaker, I feel like is an exact hit. I mean, it's pretty close. I mean, they take some of the consideration, right, with the whole tick, just the whatever 60 tick or whatnot. But I think with Hanzo, just the hitbox is much bigger, and that's was the source of all of it.
They're still playing with it. I mean, clearly, it's
better. It's better than it used to be.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some more Hanzo tweaks in the future. I mean, clearly we don't agree on the show, so I guess we'll see if Blizzard agrees, because their word is the one that matters in the end. So
they're trying to get them to be played more, which is good. It's definitely a good thing to try to have all your characters played more. because he's not played at all, right? Actually, he's probably played the most now in the pro scene than we've ever seen. Like every once in a while, somebody will break him out on a map at some point. So that's good to see.
Yeah, absolutely. So, real quick, it's not in the notes, but we haven't had a chance to really talk about it. The fact that if you're a jerk in chat now, the game censors it for you and turns it into something quite hilarious.
Oh, we didn't mention it. That's true.
Yeah, we haven't had a chance to talk about it.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, I didn't even realize that until you mentioned it just now. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so the Overwatch team patched into the game people who type things like GG easy in game chat afterwards, and other similar mean-spirited things. They just automatically change that now to something you did not mean to say. Something like, I could really use a hug right now, or it's past my bedtime, please don't tell my mommy.
Exactly.
So it's only GG Easy, isn't it? I thought it was just that one.
I'm pretty sure I could have sworn there's some other things that get filtered.
Okay.
So I think it's just
maybe
jerkery.
it's possible. But it's really cool. And the thing is, GG Easy is, at least for me, the one that really got me. It is. I don't know why it's so frustrating, but it definitely is. It's very insulting.
It's the lack of effort that they are putting forward in being a jerk.
Maybe.
It's something that it's literally just 4 keys, just click, 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 send. And it's like, you didn't even take the time and effort to come up with something clever to tell me how much I suck.
Yeah, it's really just out of principle for being a jerk. Like, that's why you do it. That's the reason why you would type this anywhere. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, a lot of people pointed out that, well, you can just type GG space easy, or, but the thing is, it completely takes away the gravity of that. Well, maybe not completely, but mostly takes away the impact of that insult. It basically now it's been transformed into that jokey thing where if someone actually tries and say it, even if, they don't say the right word and the right way and their words get changed, it's still, they're trying to be that guy that is associated with, it's past my bedtime, please don't tell my mommy. So it's sort of ridiculed the entire insult, even if you type it differently. I thought that was really a super clever way for Blizzard of handling that toxicity and that negativity, because the easy way, obviously, well, not the easy way, but the traditional way is to ban people or prevent people from typing it, but that just, it's really hard to enforce, and people do it different ways, etc., etc. Here, they actually but diminished, impacted the insult itself. It was really brilliant.
I'm just overall happy with it. My favorite one, I think, is I'm trying to be a nicer person. It's hard, but I am trying, guys. That is without a doubt my favorite.
Well, you know what's funny is the first time I saw that, I was like, oh, wow. There's actually a dude in here saying that. I seriously thought that. It wasn't until it was being spammed that I realized, oh.
I did.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I remember this now.
I will be completely honest. The first time I saw that, I had the exact same reaction, Chris. These guys are nice. I had read about this. I'd seen it in PTR videos, but that particular line I hadn't seen before, and I was just like, You be honest, dude. I get it.
Like,
this wasn't, but no.
I feel you. Yeah.
But then I remembered, and I was like,
good people today. Let's get.
Yeah, no. It's a. I think they did a really good job. Even though I know what it's doing, I know the guy's being a jerk. It still makes me giggle, and it still puts a smile on my face. I'm like, yeah, there's just gonna be jerks. Just accept it and do something fun with what these people are putting out into the world. So
have fun with the jerks.
Exactly. Have fun with jerk human beings. So. Hey, Sombra ARGs are still a thing, and that's about as much as I'm going to say about that. Let's move right into
Thank you.
Paratrix 101, Pretend to Fall. Patrick, what is this?
So this is a super, super clever little trick that I saw on Reddit. Basically, on any map where there's a hole somewhere and you play Pharah, you keep your booster pack, and you sort of go close to the fight. People start shooting at you, and then you drop into the
pit, if you will.
hole, and you stay there. You hover for a couple of seconds, and just long enough that people are going to start looking somewhere else, and then you boost back up and wreak havoc. So usually when there's a hole, you can use your concussion. What is it? It's not concussion thing. It's the thing that pushes people away.
It's concussive missile, isn't it?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so there you go. The concussive missile. And you can push at least some of them in the hole, or it's super clever. And when you see it done successfully, it is joyful to see, like, she's just discreetly, like, it's almost stealth, and she jumps back up and she's like, boom, you're dead. It's amazing. I really love it.
What I love about this is it's like you're using human nature against people. It's just like, I know after about 3 seconds of not being able to see me, you're going to look somewhere else, and I'm going to pop up and I'm going to push you off a cliff.
Well, what's even funnier is that the video that I think we're referring to is one on Sanctum on Nepal.
Yep.
And so what the Pharah would do is, the objective is obviously on this platform, right? And there's like all these areas that you can knock off, and a lot of Pharahs do, right? Just shoot, just jump up, and the radius on the concussion missile is so big, but that's another discussion. But yeah, the Pharah would basically show herself. This is the cool part. She'd show herself. She'd drop below, and all of us have had Lucios in the the little hole on Ilios and stuff, and we're just like, gosh, this guy survived. So you naturally look over the edge because you want to shoot that person or you want to kill them, and so they all look over the edge, and she shoots up and then concusses right behind them, and they all fall out over the edge.
It's so gross.
Oh god, it's so good.
You couldn't choreograph it better if you tried.
Exactly.
But I love this kind of stuff because, like, if this strategy takes off, like if this becomes a thing you start seeing in every game of Sanctum, it can be something you can play against. If you see it then becomes a meta thing, and you can play against it. You see a Pharah dive down, you're like, everyone back, everyone get back.
Yeah. Well, remember when we first saw the whole King's Row thing, where Pharah would float underneath the last, that little area in the last point, and then come from behind and then ult behind it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, just like a little trick that everybody's going to start doing.
Yeah, exactly. I love it.
It's really cool that still now we're finding, with the first characters that were in the game, finding stuff to do that surprise us.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've got a link to this if you haven't seen it. It's just a little GIF capture. Check it out. We have it in the show notes. So if you go to amove.tv/Overwatchers, find the episode 30 post, and there's a link to the show notes at the bottom of the post. So go check that out. Now let's talk about what the community's been up to, and it's in the notes. I don't know how else to segue into this. Patrick, what blew your mind yesterday? I have to know.
So basically, I think it's not going to speak to the younger gamers among us, but I just yesterday realized where McCree gets his name from. It's a reference to a video game. Does either one of you, a few people on Twitter told me, oh yeah, of course, I remember this, and they had gotten it already. Do either of you realize what the reference is?
McCree, and it's
McCree,
a video.
One of his voice lines?
No.
It's just his name.
It's the name. The name is
McCree.
Yes. His name is part of a video game's title. But it's not a very well-known one. Okay, if I tell you,
I'm totally lost.
It has to do with a dog. No?
Dog? A game?
Nope.
A dog?
Yes.
Nope.
Well, not really a dog. Okay, so if you don't get it at this point, you're not going to get it. There's a Laserdisc full-motion video cowboy game that came out in the 90s at some point called Mad Dog McCree.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
remember that,
Yeah,
right?
Yes, I do remember that.
I've never heard of this.
It's amazing. Go look it up on Twitter.
I do remember that.
I tweeted a link to a French version of it, which is hilarious.
Looks awful.
And it's basically it's terrible. It was full motion video. It was basically shot on a $100 budget, and they had to recreate a Western scene, Western scenes. It's horrible.
It looks like it had
but it's
sequels on the Sega CD.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And it's got that, you're the stranger in that game, and you show up, and Mad Dog McCree is wreaking havoc in that little town, and you sort of have your eye on the mayor's daughter, and like it's ridiculously hammy. It's really badly done, but it was memorable because you were playing an actual, quote unquote movie. So you had the gun and everything. So anyway, it was a Cowboy McCree, and I'm 100% sure that's where the name comes from. It can't be a coincidence, right? So I love that Blizzard snuck in a little reference to that.
Well, and this McCree guy has a red handkerchief around his neck. And granted, McCree's wearing a full-on poncho, basically. But, oh, man. My favorite thing about this is this guy's piercing blue eyes and the mascara that lets you know he's a cowboy.
I wonder if there's one of his sentences, one of his quotes that the Mad Dog McCree version also says. I'll have to look it up. If you know, please come tell me on Twitter. I would love to know.
Yeah, I'm outing myself on my age here. I did not know about that. Although I was clearly around for this. If it was Laserdisc, I remember Laserdisc. I just never knew about this particular game.
I don't think I ever played it, but I definitely I've heard of it for sure.
Yeah. Oh man, that's fantastic. Thank you for this, Patrick. Thank you so much. All right,
but it was because I know that game, and it's just I never thought of it until it's been a year and a half. I've played the game, and it never clicked. I don't know why I thought of Mad Dog McCree like all of a sudden yesterday, but anyway. So Mad Dog McCree.
Well, other things that have been coming from the community that are super fun, without a doubt, my favorite thing this week is My Mother Looks at Overwatch, which is a Tumblr page, which you can find at Carhall, the Carhall, spelled Karhall, .tumblr.com, with dashes between each word before the .tumblr. Where he chronicles his mother's reaction of looking at every hero in Overwatch and gives us some beautiful quotes. And I'm just gonna go with Roadhog.
It's basically, I think he only showed her the picture, like the hero art, like the main visual for the hero. So she had to deduce what the person was and the name as just by looking at that.
Yep. So Roadhog, which I believe the mother named Oink, asked if he is dumb, proclaimed, he has a pig on his belly button. Why does he have a pig on his belly button? Why does he need the gas mask? That looks like a whip. No, that's a chisel. In regards to his hook.
And it's just, I can't get over his belly, like halfway through it after she said a bunch of things. It's so funny.
And then she says, I think he's a good guy. He says, why? And she says, he's got a pig on his belly.
I think she has an awesome eye, or Blizzard has really imprinted what the characters are into their art. I think maybe a little bit of both, because all of them, she sort of hits the mark pretty close.
Well, except that
even the names, Pharah, she names Raven, which I think would fit completely. Reaper, she calls Doom.
Yeah, that's a good name, actually.
I mean, you could have just called him Hot Topic, but yeah.
What? Who?
You could have just called Reaper Hot Topic and it would work, but yeah.
That's true. Reinhardt is Pinhead. I love that one.
that one I love the most. Like, I love how she can't get over how tiny his head is.
Yeah. It's true.
When you look at it in that picture, it is really tiny. Again, jokes coming. Symmetra is the seer. She can see into the future, kind of. It's. I love. I guess what I'm trying to say is, almost all of the names that she gave to those heroes would have fit perfectly if they were their actual names. Tracer is Falcon. Yes, absolutely, she could be Falcon. Widowmaker is Arachnid, etc., etc. There's tons of them, but I think it's a super fun thing to look at, and I would be very curious to see someone else make that experiment and see what their mom would or dad or whoever would say about the characters.
I like the one with Winston. She calls her Evo. Why Evo? He makes me think of Evolution.
Yeah, it makes sense. Why is it that funny? It makes sense, doesn't it?
So matter of fact. It's like it's so face value. I mean, all of this is, and yeah, you are right to a certain degree, Patrick. Like, does I think speak to the success of just having characters that are instantly recognizable. But yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just keep coming back to Reinhardt, who she named Pinhead. I can't. That's all I'm gonna call him now. Reinhardt is now Pinhead to me, and he's like my favorite hero. So yeah. Thank you.
We have all these little, innuendos or jokes. She did name Bastion Erector.
Yeah, I did.
That was the one that kind of goes against goes against your.
Why Erector though?
I don't know. I don't know.
It says his little bird friend is cute. He asks why, and then she said his little bird friend is cute. I don't even understand.
But it's Erector.
Yeah, it's Erector.
No, but the question of why was it your favorite? She asked who her favorite hero was and who her least favorite was, and her favorite was Bastion. And when asked why, she said because his little bird friend is cute.
Right. It's not the.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the name.
Which, if I'm being honest, is the reason Bastion is one of my favorites. Is because his little bird friend is cute. So, anyways. Hey, somebody switched to Sombra in a game somehow.
That is amazing. Have you seen this?
Yeah,
I did. I think this is 100% intentional. I think this is a glitch that they put in the game that randomly happens.
So actually, what happened was, you see in the GIF, there's it's focused on the text, the chat window, and someone at some point there's the message that appears: whoever switched to Sombra (parentheses) was McCree, and everyone looks at that thing and he's like, "What the hell? What happened? Are you Sombra?" And the thing that you have to notice is the colon, because it's actually someone typing.
It's just an alt chat.
Switch to Sombra, parentheses, was McCree, and no one got it.
No, I didn't get it, and I'm sitting here.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right. Yeah, the colon. You gotta always pay attention to the colon. There's so many freaking jokes we could make today that are seedy. Yeah, well, that's fantastic.
For Twitch chatters,
you always have to pay attention to the colon. That's the lesson to remember from that. It was really funny, though.
All right, Chris, talk to me about Captain Planet's meta trends.
Okay, I guess it's a more serious note. So Captain Planet is somebody that's been in the community, especially the competitive community, for a while. And he runs a site Overbuff. That's a community site that, again, is focused on the competitive scene. Anyways, he came out with this Reddit meta report for Season 2. And it's really, really well done. That's kind of when I wanted to bring it up. He's done some of these meta reports in the past, but this one particularly I thought was really, really good. And what it does is it really maps out, I guess, what we saw or what we're seeing currently in the meta with what characters are being chosen, and he takes into account a lot of the events that we've seen recently, as well as just just whatever just current ladder data that he's getting, and he really maps it out. He kind of puts it in tiers, like which characters are kind of the higher tiers, and then from there he really spells out just what the trends are, like what he sees from that, and what some of the things that he anticipates are. It really points out some new meta that we're seeing. One in particular that he points out, just as an example, is one that was created by the NIP team, which was this whole 3 support and 3 tank composition, which really focused on Ana boosting up her ult, because she has like these 3 huge targets just to heal constantly, and then she'll just like ultimate either Winston or Reinhardt and then just wreck house. But this seems to work really, really well on some of the maps, particularly the control point maps. But yeah, he goes through it. He's got images. He's got great analysis on, like, he talks about May will become Bay, like kind of what we were talking about earlier, and some of the maybe misconceptions as to like Genji dropping off completely because of the nerfs, but we still see Genji actually being played quite a bit. So it's actually a very, very well done analysis, and I felt like it was worth mentioning to everybody and for everyone to check out. And this is also on the notes too. You guys can click on the link there.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's basically he does it every week, right? Or almost
Is
every
it every
week.
week? I don't know if it's every week, but
Okay.
But maybe it is
pretty
every week. But
frequent.
this one I felt like was a little bit better than the other ones I've seen from him. He does a great job every time, but
they're super complete. I mean, if you look at it, it has like super detailed analysis, like per tier explanation, and it's actually a pretty long read. It's quite amazing the amount of work he puts into this. It's almost concerning. It's like someone who spending that much time on it. It's amazing, you know.
Yeah.
But so go check it out if you're interested. It's definitely worth it.
Indeed. And then the last community thing we'll talk about, then we'll talk about esports and wrap the show up, is Lucio, a Lucio trick you can do on King's Row while capturing the first point. We talked a little bit about this before the show, but let's explain it again for those who don't hang out with us for things we don't record. Apparently you can, if you're touching the wall, so this is the first point on King's Row, and if you notice, the glowing area, the active area to capture the point actually touches the side wall, which goes up to a tower, basically. And if you're touching that wall on that tower at any elevation, you're technically capturing the point. So Lucio can just be wall riding up there indefinitely and capturing the point on King's Row.
Also called, hello, I'm going to get fixed really quickly, because that can be incredibly annoying.
I can't imagine that this will make it through the week.
Yeah.
Well, probably. I mean, I don't know. It might be just a good way for people to, I mean, because like the pros will still just be able to shoot Lucio probably out of the sky and get rid of him. But maybe at lower levels, this is just ridiculous. But this stemmed from a video that we saw from, I think the content maker's Professor Ganymede, who has done some other videos. I remember some of his other Lucio videos. I think he might just specialize in Lucio type of videos. But yeah, he was basically showing that you can just sit there and just constantly go back and forth. And there's this little part in the wall that sticks out too. So you can actually dodge Diva ults by timing that right too, or being able, and there's a little nook in the wall too. So you can, like, whenever Diva even ults, you can just like hide from it really quick and then just like continue doing the wall surfing thing over and over again.
I guess it's always possible to contest with Lucio, especially on some of the King of the Hill maps. He can be super annoying, but tell me if I'm wrong. This one seems a lot easier to do than having to like constantly, right? This one is much easier. You just jump, traverse to the other side, and then do it again over and over, and you're fine. Now
that you can round corners easily too, this one's really simple. It used to be harder, but now it's easy.
I hope they never go back on how easy it is to traverse walls now as Lucio. I really enjoy my wall running and shooting. It's a blast. Let's talk esports, because the Overwatch World Cup rosters were announced.
Yes.
And oh, what a fun mix of people we have playing on teams. Let's kick it off with Team
I didn't
US.
even look at the American one.
Yeah, let's kick it off with America, where to the surprise of no one at all, Seagull received the most votes and is the team captain.
I would say the only surprise with that is that he only got 57% of the votes. I actually thought it would be higher, to be honest. He's super popular.
Yeah, it's not even. I mean, he's super good as well, but it feels like this thing is really not just for fun, but definitely the most popular, well-known personalities, obviously, got it. And in this case, clearly Seagull is the one streamer, YouTuber that emerged with Overwatch as the most popular person. So,
yeah.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Sure4 is the team captain for Canada. I'm excited to see that Huck is on his team.
Oh, on Team Canada, yeah. So for those of you that aren't familiar with this, and maybe, I don't know, I think I mentioned it on maybe one just our last episode, but if you don't know what the World Cup is, it's essentially an all-star event. And I was like giving geeky crap about the World Cup versus the all-star, but this is like an all-star event, so it's not meant to be literally the best teams from each country, going at it, and who has this Olympic style thing. It's nothing like that. This is more just your favorite players slash community content makers or whatnot getting a chance to represent their country at BlizzCon and kind of battling it out in this fun event.
Yeah, it's a show tournament, really.
Yeah.
More than anything else, it's just that there was a community aspect. There was voting going on, so the community had a say in what the teams consisted of. But you're absolutely right. I mean, the thing you need to understand is that yes, Overwatch has it feels like Overwatch has been out for a while, and it seems surprising that we don't have like a proper esports event leading into BlizzCon, but there just wasn't enough time. All the other Blizzard esports, their events run year long from pretty much the beginning of the year, and we just didn't have that with Overwatch. So even though it's been out for a while, this BlizzCon will have a show tournament, not a proper league or anything like that.
Yeah, and I'll be completely honest. Like when they first talked about this being a voters thing, because so everybody votes, by the way, on the players, and I think you voted on the top 4 people, and the person that got the most votes that would be the team captain, and then they could make 2 captains pick. I think the point of that was to actually round out the team so it would be a little bit more competitive versus just having a team that has an average rank of, like an old rank of 60 or in the 50s or something like that, right? We have a team captain, by the way, who was, the old system rank 40. So we have all kinds of skill. Yeah.
For what country?
The Mexico country, the Mexico captain, Mexican captain.
The Mexico country.
Right.
The Mexican captain.
That's the one where you want to build a wall with, right? The Mexico country. I got it. Okay.
Is it real quick? Is Patrick's mic cracking for you, Chris?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
It almost sounds like a connection thing.
Yeah. But yeah. So for me, I was like, I was hoping this would be, just like that national type of event where we do have like the best players. But more as time and time has gone by, I think I do understand why. This would be appealing or maybe a good transitional type of event for folks that aren't in esports, so they get a chance to maybe see their favorite streamers or casters or whatnot play with the players. But at the same time, you'll get a chance to see what Overwatch esports is kind of like, and from the standpoint of spectating. And some of these teams are actually good too. So I think in the end, on stage or wherever this is going to be shown, you will see like a high level of Overwatch competitive play going against each other, because not only is the team from Sweden just like an actual player all-star list, which wasn't a surprise. Everybody kind of anticipated that. But we see teams from Asia, like the Chinese team, that are actually teams. Like if you look at the Chinese team, it's the entire IG team representing China.
Yeah.
Like so they have to be organized and pretty good, right? I'm sure they're going to be doing well. So in the end, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw one of these Asian teams going against maybe a team Sweden, or I don't know, maybe Germany, or I think even the team the CIS and Baltic area is pretty good too. So yeah, we'll get a little bit of everything, I guess, is my point at BlizzCon, which will be great for all the Overwatch folks that know nothing about esports.
And I mean, I don't. How should I say this? The French team is the French captain is AlphaCast, who I'm super happy and proud about, because I found out about him. I can't remember, maybe through YouTube and we did one of my general French language gaming shows, Overwatch special, with him. I asked him if he would be interested. We did an entire episode. It was super cool. He's a really nice person. I think he might even I knew he listened to this show for a while. I don't know if he still does. But so I really want to root for him, and I want him to at least go to BlizzCon with his team. That's kind of not too bad, actually. I don't know if it's going to happen, but certainly the having the teams per country is making me like want to root for all of it. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, that's good. And okay, so it is cool that AlphaCast was on there. Like, I mean, so I don't want to take anything away from that. Definitely really cool that he got voted on and everything. But the thing is the French team,
popularity thing.
The French team could have been one of the best teams. Like the French team literally has like 6 people I can think of that would make an incredible team, because guys like Wins and AKM, they're on Team Rogue, and one of the best teams obviously right now in Overwatch, and they didn't make the list here at all. So that's the only thing I would say about that. But again, this is an all-star event. It's not like a crazy competitive one. So maybe down the road.
Maybe next year they'll do it actually, so they take the best players and make.
I guarantee you that is how next year will work. I'm sure we're gonna get an announcement of a year-long league.
Yeah, or some.
Yeah, but the thing is, the national teams, I don't know if they would, do it like that, because obviously it gets very complicated, and how do you select the players, blah blah blah. But
that's what I'm saying. I don't think we're gonna have any of this next year.
Oh right, yeah.
I think it's gonna be a much
I
more
think
traditional
we'll have this in some capacity. It just might not be at BlizzCon. BlizzCon will probably be like the championship or whatever.
Yeah, I mean those are still regionalized to a certain degree, but not like this is.
Yeah, this is good though. Like, we need this, and I love these events, like events that used to be kind of like WCG used to be in StarCraft and some of the other games back in the day. Representing your country was a big deal, and we see that in WCS now too, and just from the regions, just this whole how it's set up, and seeing the best from the regions come in and then battle it out, like in a final event. There's something to be said about representing your country, and in some ways it's very accessible too to people that don't know that much about competitive Overwatch or whatever game. One thing that you do have in common with these people that you see on the screen is that they're from the same country as you, so you can.
It's easy to know who to root for.
Yeah. When I'm watching the Olympics, I'm watching some sport I know nothing about. I'm gonna be rooting for the Americans. Like, it doesn't even matter. It's like, I have known nothing about this, but yeah, let's synchronize swimming. Yeah, go Americans, baby, go.
Synchronized swimming, which is a legitimate Olympic sport.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it isn't.
No, it is.
But I guess my reaction might have been construed to indicating otherwise. But even if your team isn't competing, you can always get it's not a random name. You at least have some understanding of some association with what or who they represent. So yeah, I really like this system.
I think it's the same reason Heroes of the Dorm works so well.
For
Heroes.
Too. Because of the college thing.
There's a reason I think that works on ESPN. It's like, well, if no one knows anything else about this, they can at least be like, oh, well, I know that college. I'm closer to that college. I'll root for them.
Yeah, exactly.
My cousin's third wife went to that college, so I'll root for that.
Oh, your cousin has a long storied history of failed marriages, apparently. But
well, that college, how they are. So wait, no, that doesn't make sense. I don't know.
God, I love the idea.
Wow,
I love the idea that institutes for higher learning have like some legitimate impact on whether or not your marriage will be successful.
Oh, no. I know, it's Utah. And so the third wife doesn't mean he got rid of the first two.
Deep cuts.
Oh, come on, that was a good.
Nice.
Right?
I'm enjoying that joke a lot more than I'm trying to let on that I'm enjoying that joke.
All right, I guess the last thing to talk about is the Overwatch Open.
Yep.
They completed, I guess, the regional finals for each for NA and EU, and now the grand finalists are set. So the 8 teams are set to go to Atlanta in 3 weeks, like September 25th through 26th, is going to be where the 8 teams battle it out. And the only big news here with the results is that Complexity didn't end up making it. They got knocked out. Actually, they got knocked out by Rise Nation, which is this team that kind of just came out of nowhere and ended up beating them. And then in the end, Method and NRG came out of that group. Complexity has been one of the top teams in NA for a long time. Struggled a little bit recently, but they still have been one of the top teams. So that was definitely a big surprise. So other than that, all the other favorites are pretty much coming out of EU. The Envious and the Cloud9s and the Misfits and teams like that. They're basically moving on. But this is for those of you not familiar with this event, this is the one that's sponsored or hosted by E-League and as well as Face It. And this is the one that's going to be on TV too. The actual finals, the last match will be on TNT for the E-League broadcast.
TBS.
Oh, TBS, sorry,
Yeah.
not TNT, TBS. So this will be the first time I think Overwatch is on TV in any capacity, I believe. I don't
Yeah.
think it's been on Europe or
Grand
Asia
Finals will be on TBS on Friday, September 30th.
Oh, 30th. Okay.
Yep.
So I think the first couple rounds will be 25th and 26th, and then the last one will be on the 30th. Yeah.
Yeah, the live
Unfortunately, I'll
finals.
be at TwitchCon during that time, so. I
Oh,
won't
you poor baby! You'll be at a
able
giant
to
fun event. I
watch
feel so
live.
bad for you.
Yeah. But I'm sure it's going to be pretty epic. It's a $300,000 prize pool, so it's the biggest one to date. Definitely super epic.
I'm gonna try and get my cousin who like lost his mind, my traditional sports cousin who lost his mind when he saw Heroes on ESPN. He was like, "Oh my god, what is this? This is cool." I'm gonna try and get him to come over for this, and because I always go over there for real normal sports events, and he explains to me what's going on. So I want him to come over, and I want to get to explain to him what's going on for a change.
The big
Be
screen
careful
TV.
be careful with Overwatch, though. As I said last time, it's so hard to understand. I'm wondering if it might not put him off of esports if he has no concept of what an FPS
it's fine.
is.
He's so in the dark anyway. It doesn't matter.
Well, hopefully they'll, on the broadcast, given that it is the first time it'll be televised on TBS to an audience that, for the most part, probably will not know what Overwatch is. Even though a lot of us
That's
will go
true.
watch it. I think probably a good percentage will not know what the heck they're watching. Hopefully they'll have like infographics and
I'm honestly
some video,
the thing
B-rolls and
the thing I think I'm the most excited for is just to see how they produce this, like how they show this to the world, because I have not been super impressed with what I've seen from existing Overwatch tournaments. I think it's very difficult to watch, so I want to see what TBS does with it for a wider audience.
Yeah, I agree. It's the spectator. There's only so much we can do right now with the spectator. So the thing I'm most interested in is just everything else around it. All the things that they can add stuff for and probably make extra footage for. That's something that they can help and can make into just a really nice package for all the folks that know nothing about the game.
I guess the Heroes of the Dorm production value was so high it actually
awesome.
made me it improved tremendously the value of the broadcast itself. So
Yeah.
maybe
And it was-
that can work. For sure.
Did you watch the last year's, like the first time they did it? Because it improved drastically.
Hugely.
I
for
just
year
watched
two.
this year.
Okay, yeah. Last year they were
Yeah, last
cutting
year's
to crowd shots during major engagements, so I was screaming
Yeah.
at my television. But this year was awesome, and honestly, last year, like overall, the production was great. It was just like, why are you cutting right now? But
Yeah.
this year was just phenomenal.
Yeah, this year was great. I didn't even know if I mentioned it to you guys. It was in this show or another show, but my wife actually sat there and watched it with me. And I kind of had her sit there and watch it purposely just to see what she thought. Because obviously because she doesn't know anything like this. So it's a little bit more of a scientific thing for me. And so it's like,
Scientific
so I was like, this is college, I was like, babe, this is college, these college students playing and they're playing for free tuition. And just giving her a little bit of a frame. And so she was watching. And she actually sat there and enjoyed it. Like I said, you can leave anytime you want, but but if you're interested, I'd like to hear your feedback from it. And she actually sat through the entire finals, and we watched the interviews. The interview was even compelling, right? And she said that like the infographics made a huge deal. Just like showing the different characters and I think just even just generally having some knowledge of what these guys do on the screen helped a lot.
Yeah, it was the same way with it was a lot. It's much easier to get my wife to watch these things as well when they're on TV. She watched Heroes of the Dorm with me, and she. This is gonna sound like such smack talk. She didn't really get into it until they interviewed Mike Udall, and she's like, "That guy's a jerk. I want him to lose." So she knew who to root for.
That was
Sadly, they
exactly
won.
my reaction.
At least that came across. At least.
Yeah,
That was my reaction for sure.
yeah. That guy is full of himself.
I was watching them. He was from Utah, wasn't he?
I don't remember. All I knew was I leaned over and I said, "Yeah, well, they also cheated, and there's a kid on their team doesn't go to the freaking school, so you can hate them for that too."
Oh, really?
Yeah. The one of the
It was-
guys is from his team that he's on right now. Didn't even go to that school. He took like two online classes, which was the bare minimum to where he could say he was at that school, so he could join that team. But he's a pro.
Oh,
He was
wow.
from his. They play together professionally. And honestly,
terrible.
that's on Blizzard for not having those a better set of rules.
Of course, but still.
Yeah.
But still, as a viewer, you're just like, you guys are cheating jerks.
Well.
That's that. Yeah. So
Why you gotta...
somehow this became like Heroes of the Dorm talk. But yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. That you're it's something I don't know what it is. I think it's just the accessibility of it being on television, it being presented in a way that is more common to folks that watch competitive events. I think it absolutely does work. There is something about it being on TV that is good for the exposure of the game.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Even though those of us who have been with Twitch streams, and even before that, trying to find StarCraft streams from Korea, which get off my porch, kids, because that was hard back in the day. It's easy for us to be like, we don't need it. It's fine. I can watch it on Twitch. But if you take a step back, if you do get a chance to go introduce someone to a live esport event, either for, good God, if you can actually take them to a live event, do that. But I think the next best thing, honestly, is a traditional cable broadcast.
Yep.
So, got out of that tailspin of Heroes of the Dorm talk. Cool. All right, that is going to do it for this episode of Overwatchers. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Huge thanks to our Patreon supporters. Thank you to our Patreon producer, LVE. You can follow us on Twitter at OverwatchCast. You can email the show at mailoverwatchers@gmail.com. That's mail as in M-A-I-L, a parcel, not a gender. Send it over there. Subscribe to us on iTunes. You can also subscribe to us on youtube.com/AMoveTV. And keep those iTunes reviews coming, guys. Thank you to Boulder Smolder, Mentalk 1982, and Diva Fan. Diva is Bay. It's not May. Sorry, guys. Just letting you know. That is going to do it. Patrick, where can folks find you when you're not overwatching?
I guess Twitter is a good place. Facebook also is. You can get me at Not Patrick on both of those. And Pixels is a show about gaming in general. So if you want to hear about, well, for example, World of Warcraft, but not only, I went on a loving rant. Can a rant be loving? For King of Fighters and a bunch of other things.
Yes.
On the last, there you go.
I would argue a tirade is hard to be loving.
All right, a tirade. Yes, that works as well. That's at FrenchSpin.com. So go check that out.
Nice, Chris. How about yourself?
You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, all ending in ChanmanV. If you enjoy Hearthstone, I have another podcast that I do later today at 4, Value Town. And tomorrow, spoiler alerts, I will be talking about BoJack Horseman. So if you enjoy that Netflix series, tune into that at 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow.
It got brought up on our last call-in episode of Into the Nexus, and I've had people
really?
yelling at me on Twitter ever since that I have you watched it yet, Garrett? Have you watched it? And no, I haven't.
You'd love it, Garrett.
Sorry,
I watched the
really
first episode.
I started.
I watched the first episode, and it didn't. I don't get it. I just maybe I have
to be honest, it wasn't my idea to do BoJack. It was actually Elheim's. And when I watched the first episode, I was like, okay, this is kind of funny, but it's like Will Arnett, right? He's like the main character in it. It's like definitely that type of comedy too. Just
really
Alison Brie and Will Arnett, and
really
so
like Will Arnett.
it took me maybe about 2 or 3 to finally get into it, and then now I'm just like full swing, like it just completely laughing at everything.
Well, I started Mr. Robot and got sucked into that.
Oh gosh, that's
that
awesome.
show is incredible. Like really freaking good. And then randomly, I was like hanging out with my buddy. He's like, "Have you seen Shameless?" And I was like, "No." And he put it on, and I was dying from laughter. So now I'm watching that. The American version. Apparently, there's a British version. I didn't know that until yesterday. Sorry, British television nerds. Sorry. So, anyways, you can find me on Twitter at Garrett Art, 2 R's and 2 T's in Garrett. Go check that out. And every other podcast I do is over at amove.tv. Other than that, special mention for Embrace the Spoilers. Jocelyn and I are doing Legion spoilers for World of Warcraft's latest expansion. So if you want to hear us spoil all of the new lore awesomeness that is oozing out of this expansion, oh my God, Blizzard.
So much.
You're killing it. I love it. I love it so much.
I really had to restrain myself for not talking about WoW here, and I'm gonna cover the Apple event in just a few minutes in French. Sorry, and I'm gonna have to restrain myself to not talk about WoW there. It's like, Anyway.
Yes. Also, please keep apologizing for speaking your native language. So anyways, that will do it for this episode. Thanks again, everyone. If you like the show, you want to support us, if you want more episodes, go to patreon.com/Overwatchers and support the show. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, good luck and have fun.
Bye.
Bye.